Back in the building again. Appreciate the love as always. Blessings to you all for showing up again. What's going on with you, Q, man? What's the business this weekend?
What's happening? What's happening, man? Bless, highly favored. How you doing, bro?
Excellent, excellent. So, certain times of the questioning, there was a question that came up about the session files, and it kind of was loading into like what I was talking about too, with like showing my hand a little bit. Um, so if somebody has a session and people don't know what's actually important, like what actually is important when you go to a studio, or even if you're recording stuff on your own, like what files are like actually, what do you need to have when you record a session? So that's what I'm going to show my hand on in this pod. But first, I'm gonna ask a few questions. Um, and it's not for confusing. This is for learning purposes as well. So when you first started recording, we already talked about all of that with who you started with, process of moving forward, how things have changed, you know, upgrades and sounds and certain things of that nature. But as an artist, have you ever really known like what files are actually important to you? And I'm asking you this, bro.
Oh, I like the rough draft file, the file, final draft file. I've always been sent those. Uh, those are pretty much the files that I know as an artist. The rough draft, before the mixing and the mastering, and the final draft after the mixing and the mastering of the single or the song or the
Mm-hmm.
album. So I always view both of them as important because I'm the type of artist I like to just have an ear, hear back what I put down on wax.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just that type of artist. I like to listen right to it right away, what I just did. So I think the rough draft is important to me, the rough draft, so I can have an actual idea kind of, what I'm saying, what it
Mm-hmm.
is. Because I know if the rough draft sound decent, then the touch up gotta be fire. You know what I'm saying? If the rough draft don't catch me, I kind of, start feeling like maybe this, what I'm saying, I take it to heart. So I'm
Yeah.
an artist that take the rough draft to heart because it gives you an idea of what to expect.
And this is I'm taking this in because I
I
probably
never
never
said that
looked at
to
it.
you, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so
Huh. Yeah. And this is something that it's like for years, um, understanding how to be efficiently ready was something that was, as far as files, what files you need and what's important to you. So from the time of about maybe oh 04, 2004, maybe 303, might have been oh 03, oh 02, but I think really solidly oh 04. 2004, Pro Tools was starting to become this the thing everybody wanted to jump on. It became industry, and what files to have was very important. And in a sense of knowing what files to have, you had to have like either gone to school or been tied into a circle of people to know what files you needed to have would be considered what's important, what's not important.
oh, I
So
learned later on the trackouts were important when you want to
Gonna
take
get
your
into it.
when you
We
take
gonna
your
take them down
yeah,
lane.
I
Yeah, we're
learned
gonna
that
take them
too.
down there. We're gonna take them down there. So
You taught me that. You know
this
what I'm
is
saying? The
this is
trackout important.
something this is something that a lot of people would get confused by at this point, because start talking about track outs, you know, what's deliverable files? Okay, so track outs. Track outs are the files that basically stems in a industry term would be the files that are the instrumental will be broken down into files, file by track or tracked out, and the vocal files would be tracked out as well. Now there are certain differences in instances in how you can put the vocals together. Sometimes it may be different. Some are, you may get straight mono tracks. You may get some that are, bounced together. Sometimes it just depends on what's needed and what's needed to be, to get the final sound. But in the instance of saying stems or track outs, this is very important. So when you record as a recording artist, the one thing that you must know is if you want to have a final polished sound, instrumentals, vocals need to be as pristine as possible. Doesn't have to be perfect in a sense in some places, but if you really want it to be like really, 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 really good and really polished out, tracked out is the best way. So what are track outs? So a couple things to look at with this. So I'm gonna switch screens real quick. All right. So this is a recording session. And I'm gonna show you another instance of another session or another part of this as well. I think I can find this song or the beat. So this is a session that I recorded with Q. So it's a lot of files that sometimes you may see some people will open this up and you will see 1,000 files. So first off, this file is the Pro Tools file. A lot of people lived and died by Pro Tools for so long. End of the day, this is a Pro Tools file. PTX at the end. Pro Tools basically allows you to bounce files and you produce audio files. The audio files are what you basically bring in and or have created inside, and the bounce files are what I have exported. So there's a lot that you see under bounce files, and then there's a lot that you see under audio files. It's not really a lot, saying that this was kind of a simplistic song, but there could be more or less depending on what you do, But the first thing is the audio files. So I'm gonna close these bounce files up. These audio files are the most important files in your whole entire inventory. So if you don't have a producer or a place where your files can be safe, in the instance of what I usually do is, because when I work with artists, I usually just try my best to keep files in safe places. So for the sake of, if anything was to
you got happen, all my files, bro? Sorry to cut you off. You got all the files we did together? All of them?
Everything, bro.
I hope so, because I don't delete nothing.
Hey, it wasn't the case. Let me finish. Go ahead. Everything's a thing of being safe. I'm one to always, every recording session that I've done, I've always backed it up, whether if it's on a hard drive that's not on the computer or it's in a drive where it's in space, Google Drive. There's all these other drives that you can pick. You always want to make sure that your hands are in some hands reach of files. The thing is, though, if you have your master file, that's the only thing you really need. That's the most important file in your whole entire world is the master file. The master file is that last one that is uploaded to whatever platform or the one that you are made, or the one that you've made tangible. That's your most important files. But for the sake of, again, let me get back to it. Audio files. These are the files that you would want to keep. As you see, mines are named. I have hook 1, hook 2, intro 1, verse 1, reverse, verse 1, reverse 2. This was a situation where I was adding implementing edits in the verify up here at the top. Those are
What song was
implemented
this?
files. This is Keep It Real.
Oh, okay.
And then you have a verse 1 and you have a verse 2. And then simplicity of remembering to name files is very important. Get into a habit. Don't ever get to a place where you do not name files. This will save you a lot of time and energy when it is time to start mixing and mastering, or if when you send files to somebody else to have them mixed and mastered, you know and they know what the files are. That is very important. Do not mess up that step. So when you record, make sure you name your track before you even start recording. Name your track, then record, so that when that recording is finished, it automatically knows what to name that file or that track. Or even when it's time to track out the files, you make sure that you name the files correctly, so you know, as I have here, hook 1, hook 2, intro, verse 1, verse 2. You get my point. So the thing is making sure that these files are recorded at its best as well. Let me say that. Don't just trash recording is it can't be fixed.
Right.
Trash recording cannot be fixed. If you do not know how to record, there are a bunch of ways to learn. As I said, I'm going to show. I'm starting to finish my videos up now to be on the other channel, so y'all don't get these confused. So you understand what to look for when you record, and understand what to do when it's time to start saving these files. Because sometimes it can get crazy. But just remember, always name your files when you start working. So if the track, that whatever that track is, just name it the hook. If it's another track that you need to be a hook, name it hook 2. If it's another track that you need to be a hook, name it hook 3. So on and so on. The same way with intro, or the same way with the verse or verse 2. However you need to do. Just make sure that you know, and everybody else knows, that the tracks are what they are. Now, for me, let me say this, because there are producers that are watching and mix people that are starting to be mix engineers, and what files are important to you. There are 2 steps to that. What you just heard, the audio files, which would come with a Pro Tools file. Sometimes it's not a Pro Tools file. You might just get the track outs. Same instance. Here are your files. All these files are going to be important when it's time to start mixing. What's going on? It's your boy Duan Barino from Not Just Music Podcast. I have a very special offer for you guys via morelabs.com. If you're that type of person who loves to drink coffee, but you don't want to always drink coffee, or if you're the type of person that doesn't drink coffee at all, but needs a very much needed boost in the morning, we have something for you. Morning Recovery Supplement. It is very, very useful. It is very, very highly effective. Also, if you're the type of person that, you got drunk the night before and you wake up in the morning, you had a hangover, guess what? It works for you too. All right. So at the end of the day, if you head over there to morelabs.com, we have something set up for you already at checkout. All you have to do is enter the code NJMP and you will receive 25% off instantly. How about that? Can you beat that? Head over to morelabs.com, all right? Peace. Next thing you want to look for in the instance of your final files is here. I have a lot going on here, so just pay attention and we can make this quick. It ain't gonna take long. Just it shouldn't be any madness. So, as a mix engineer, what you want, the most important files are: 1 is gonna be the instrumental. The final instrumental is always going to be critical. 2nd, the clean version, if there are any cuss, profane words, things that would slow this track down in case this artist needs to have this song on the radio. He can't send this song, she can't send this song to the radio without it being clean.
Hey, question.
Yes.
Do you got all the clean versions to all the songs we done?
From my knowledge, I do.
What? I never knew that.
Yeah, I send it to you when I send you the final. When I send you the final link every time,
Yeah.
It's in there. You just probably didn't look and see it.
The clean version is in all those links.
Yes.
Oh, this is new. See,
So
on wax. Okay.
let me finish.
My
So
bad, man. My bad. It's just bringing
these are the
stuff to my
files.
head.
These are the files that are important, like I said. So you got the instrumental. The instrumental is there. So you want a final instrumental for the sake of if the artist ever chose to use it in a stage presence or something to that nature. But the thing is, realistically, it could be done a couple ways. I usually just do a mixed version, but it really needs to be mastered in a sense for stage purposes to be loud
So like
enough
put the
to be
hook
able to
in to
compete.
keep it, to give the artist some leeway a little bit.
And that's
Put
if the hook is inserted. This is actually just speaking of just the instrumental. So the instrumental would be by itself. The reason why the instrumental could be by itself is yes for show use, but sometimes it could be for the sake of. So if let's say somebody wanted and likes your song, right? And they say, look, we want to put your song in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
But the case of we can't use your words. We can't use your words in all parts of the movie, right? We don't want your words. We just want the instrumental to be in parts of it sometimes just to give the movie feeling, right? But then the case of we don't have your instrumental. We just have the whole song. So do you have the instrumental as well? Bam, yeah, I got the instrumental. Yeah, let me send that over to you. If you don't have that though, from your mix engineer or your, whoever's mixing and mastering your music, they need to always make sure that they make an instrumental that is mixed and ready to go just as well as a mixed final that is clean and a regular mix of the original that's wired, profane everything. So you got 3 different versions. You got an instrumental that's mixed, you got a clean version of the song, and you have a final version of the song. Well, 2 finals. You got a clean final and you have the regular final. All 3 of those are mixed. Now, I have one as a MP3 and a wave. So that's 4 files already. Make sure y'all paying this. Make sure you screenshot this. So that's 4 files already. Then you see the rough file. The rough file is probably the first one that would probably be the one that gets sent because the case of that's just, you have that one file that just constantly saying, so just make sure, oh yeah, is this right? How does it sound? Oh yeah, is this right? How does it sound? So when you finally get to that final one, you want to name it one of the ones that's either the final clean or the original final. Make sure there's an MP3 and a wave for both. Okay, now, I think that's about it for that. Yeah, that's it. So, knowing the files is a very important situation. File structure system is very important. Don't ever overstep that part. That one part, if there's nothing else, this one video, lock this in, save it. Because
Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
And you being a responsible producer that keeps everything. Thank God for you. That's the message from this. The message I'm getting. Like, never delete your files. Keep them files, man, till you die. Like, I'm a firm believer in keeping everything that I do on file. I keep everything. Like, even behind I seen you some videos. And you like, oh, you got videos of that? Like, yes, I document everything almost, and I keep everything because you never know when you're gonna need it. Like the files. So that's the message that I got from this. Keep those files. Keep everything, whether you're movie film, a filmer or whatever, like videographer, photographer, producer. Keep those files. You know what I'm saying? They're important.
Mm-hmm.
Artists, keep your files. Artists, keep your files. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Keep them. Yeah. That's yeah.
And I think we shot a podcast in the past about something to this nature about making sure that you understand how to save and backing up files and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. It's really a critical situation. I think a lot of people don't talk about it enough. It should be talked about more.
Yeah. A lot of people don't care. They don't think that's a big deal to be
Yeah.
prepared and be, you know what I'm saying, situated. You know,
Yes, sir.
it's important. But then later down the road, the same thing, you just erasing off your Gmail or your iCloud, whatever, your files, you might need that same thing, you know, for a legal battle. Okay, what's the timestamp that you recorded this song? You know, somebody might be trying all this stuff you never think about until it hits you and you need it. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
That's part of the process. And two two of the biggest things that I'm gonna leave with y'all is to make sure that if nothing else, that's something that you invest. Like that's part of the budget. Like literally, let's add
Right.
that to the budget to make sure that you're at least spending. I mean, I don't know. Some costs different. I know I use Google. Google is, I think, a terabyte.
Oh, you went out, bro.
I use
You
Google.
back.
I think a terabyte. I think a terabyte of Google is. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. A terabyte of Google is probably around $100. So
That's crucial. That iCloud storage, all that storage, yeah. You pay that
yeah, so
extra, man, to get that storage.
a terabyte usually costs you about $100. So just make sure that that backup is something that you take care of your files with forever. So even if it be the case, if you don't want to spend that money on something that's in the cloud version, go to the store, buy you one off the shelf. There are plenty of them there. 4 terabytes, 1 terabyte, gigabyte, whatever. Find
Can I
one that
say
fits
something? The
what you got.
whole thing is about the file. The
Yeah.
the whole purpose of an artist, a producer, whatever you do, is that file. The file is the work. You go to the
Mm-hmm.
studio for the file. Like I think a lot of artists just think, oh, the experience is what I'm paying for, or it's different. People think differently. Oh, the studio time. To me, it's them files. Before I leave the studio, I always had a habit, bro. You send the file. Like even if I'm driving, you know what I'm saying, I call you, bro. When you gonna send them files? I trust you, but I like them files, bro. Yeah, because that's the work. That's the work. That's what you spent the money on for that. The files, man. You ain't got the files, you ain't got nothing. I don't care. You go studio record all you want, all these songs. Where are them files? Where's the work? You need that work.
All right. So, again, just for the helping part, we appreciate y'all. Again, if you need help, ask for help. Don't be scared to ask for help. A lot of people are intimidated by asking, but if you are the person that's asking, make sure you are sincere about your ask. Don't always just cling on to the person you're asking for help from. If you're the person that's giving the help, make sure that you're in the right place. Don't. Again, I've already said it. If you're in a bad space, don't be giving nobody no help, man. Just stay away. Bad energy ain't needed for people who really need genuine help. Anything else you gotta say, Q, before we shut this down?
I mean, I'm gonna just make it short and sweet so you don't black out again. Thank everybody for tuning in. You know what I'm saying? Keep them questions coming, man. Anything, you know, ask any questions, even advice, you know what I'm saying, our opinions. Like we love to hear opinions. We love to hear things that's on y'all mind that y'all might want us to elaborate on and talk about. So QuincyMurdoch.com. Always check out my website. Google me, Quincy Murdoch, for all material. You know, my music, movie, podcast, and this right here, not just music podcast. You know, stay in tune. Love.
Last, to the ones that don't know, this is Autism Awareness Month. Again, Autism Speaks. Autism Speaks is always one of the ones that y'all can go to. Go to their website, autismspeaks.com. Find out some things, learn some things, give some people some knowledge. That's the biggest thing we could do. Help the movement become bigger. It's getting bigger and bigger. It's a small movement, but at the same time, it's making very big noise in every state. So if you don't know, learn, get educated. All right. Peace, and we love y'all till the next time we tap in. All right.